So I got to turn everything on real quick. But, we have with the schools, and I think it's not really a huge surprise to a lot of people that, here we are, we're going to change it up again. But it's not because you guys just want to change it up. It's, it's something we needed to do, and I know that was not an easy decision.
Furthest thing from it, wasn't an easy decision. We don't like changing things with people, but we also know that, in these times, we've got to make adjustments based on how things are going in the community, how things are going within a school district. And so, the worst thing that we could do is to just cross our arms and say, here we are and we're not making any changes.
Well, let me go ahead. We're getting ready to go back to a hybrid schedule next week. And I know we already had a day coming on Tuesday where we were taking the day off to go vote. And, before we even talk about exactly the details, tell me what went into making that tough decision.
Oh, a lot of conversations with a lot of different people, listening, a lot of people looking at data, sharing how they perceive the data, talking with people in the county, listening to people at the state level. But more than anything else, just this truly was a local decision. This was something we've been working on for a few days as we've started to see some differences in the activity of COVID here in Caldwell County.
Now, when you say we, now who's watching it?
Who's watching it? Everybody's watching it.
You don't make those decisions by yourself.
I talk with all of the principals. I listen to teachers. Teachers frequently will just reach out to me and say, have you thought about this? I'd like for you to think about this. And I welcome that. I hear from parents. We talk with the health department. I talk with them personally, but our school nurse, she talks with them daily, multiple times every day. So to me, everything is collective. No matter who has to be the one of making a final call or being the voice of something, we try to involve as many people as we can.
Now, when you and I were talking yesterday, I said one of the things that I loved is that you kept going back to, I know this is gonna hurt in some households. Parents, it's tough.
It is. This is a situation that no matter what we do as a school district, unfortunately, we can't make everybody happy, and I wish we could. We try to do what's best to provide a quality education, make sure that our kids are getting what they need with teachers. But on the other hand, we've got to make sure that we do our part to keep our community as safe as we can during this time.
Well, and that includes, if the kids have to stay home, if the parents have to stay home, at least it's a hybrid schedule and not all or nothing.
It is. That was important to us. We've tried to do this in a very logical progression. So we started out virtual, and that was a tough way to start the school year. We had kids that didn't really have any experiences with their teachers. Parents hadn't really had a chance to sit down and talk with their teachers, get to know them. And so that was a tough way. But we progressed from virtual into hybrid as we watched the data, we watched the activity of COVID, and we felt like that this was an appropriate time to move into a hybrid schedule. While the strong recommendation had come down from the state for us to not have kids in school until the 28th, we felt like it was a safe time to do it earlier than that. So we started on the 14th going hybrid. And, it's easy to say it was going great, and it was. I loved seeing teachers having classrooms of smaller numbers, the interactions, the personalization. It was great. The difficulty there was that for 3 days a week, the kids weren't with the teachers. And so we felt like it had always been incumbent upon on us to do what we could to try to get to a normal school schedule. And we watched the data, we watched the numbers, and we felt like that there was a logical time for us to make that progression. And we continue to watch. And now is a logical time to make a regression. So we're going to back off from 5 days a week back to the hybrid schedule.
Well, I think for a lot of people, it was important that we give it a shot and try it anyway. let's see what happens. Let's try it. Let's try to let our kids, have some semblance of school as usual.
Right. And it was difficult because when we made that decision to go 5 days a week, the COVID activity in our county was relatively stable. It's never as low as you want it to be, but it was relatively low, and it was stable. And we looked at the other districts that were going 5 days a week, and things were stable there. They were not having any spikes from going. So there was a logic to going back and trying this, just as there's a logic right now for us to say it's time for us to back off and go back to the hybrid schedule.
Well, and one of the things in the very beginning, I will say you did, you warned us ahead of time, like, look, we may not be able to give you much warning, and this may happen or it may not. Mm-hmm. But here we are.
Yeah, and along those same lines, this could happen again. We're going to try to go, our goal is to stay hybrid for an extended period of time. We could go back to 5 days a week at some point, but if we do, people will have much notice. That would have to be a situation where the COVID activity drops, it remains stable for an extended period of time. But if we have a sudden increase, a sudden spike, we may have to back off and go virtual. And we may have to do that with a day or two's notice. And while I hate to say that, I'd rather say it than wait and let parents hear that for the first time, on a one call that says, oh, by the way, don't send your kids to school.
Well, and I will say, I know that it was important to you to get the information out yesterday instead of waiting, a couple of days. You wanted it out as early as you could.
Oh, in a perfect world, I would have announced it a week ago.
Right.
But a week ago, we didn't have the problem. So, we do try to get the information out. One of the things, too, that I want to make sure that everybody knows is we know that there's going to be people who say, you guys should have just gone virtual for a week or two. Go 14 days of virtual, separate everybody and all that. And we considered that. But I think the reason that we didn't go that route is that when we go virtual, those students, they're not isolated. They're not quarantined. So when somebody's quarantined for 14 days, that's very different than just having 1,700 kids not going to school. So during that time, I don't know that, the activities that the kids would be involved in would be any safer than being on a hybrid schedule where the kids can be socially distanced 6 feet and wear masks at all times, unless they're eating lunch.
Well, I will say, too, there is something to be said for teachers and administrators to be able to put eyeballs on these kids.
Oh, there is. Yes, there's definitely something to be said for that. We need to see that. It's, you can grade a paper, so to speak, on a virtual assignment, but to be able to talk with the kid to see how do they truly understand the concepts that are being taught, and to let them ask the questions instead of just getting that assignment and seeing that they missed it. Now, our digital platform, like Google Classroom, it does allow communication. So our kids do ask questions, but you just can't replace that face-to-face interaction.
Well, what are we going to do? What's it going to look like starting next week?
Well, once we go hybrid, it will look exactly like it did when we were on hybrid a couple weeks ago. But before we get to that point on Wednesday, there's a couple days that I want to talk about. Monday will be a virtual day of instruction. So what that will do is that will give our teachers an opportunity to get back into their digital platform, which for the most part is Google Classroom, make sure that they can still upload assignments, make sure that they can still post communications, let parents and students make sure their logins work. Are they still going to be able to communicate with the teachers? Are they going to be able to access videos that the teachers load, assignments, and so on? So we'll have a day that if parents, students have difficulty doing that, they can reach out to the school. We can work on that. If teachers are having difficulty, they can reach out to the tech department, get some help there. So Monday will be a virtual day. We will not be in school. We will treat Monday's virtual day as far as lunches go the same way that we do our Fridays with virtual instruction. Tuesday is election day, so there's no school. On Monday and Tuesday, while our teachers are working on virtual instruction, we'll all collectively be working on the buildings. We'll be making sure that they're sanitized, disinfected, wiped down, cleaned. And in addition to that, we'll be dealing with furniture. So we need less furniture in the classrooms when we're on hybrid. So it'll take a while, but we're going to get the classes cleared out as best we can just to help with the social distancing.
Well, and I want to put this out there, too. There is not a ton of kids that are positive COVID at the moment. I mean, that's not...
No. No, this is not really about a rash of positive cases. We do have a lot of quarantine cases. And so...
And those are contacts?
It is. Yeah, it's contacts, and the contacts could be from anywhere, but... and we also know that today's quarantines could be tomorrow's positive cases. So we don't want to just ignore quarantines, the numbers. But we've had a significant number of quarantines in the past 2 days. Like I said, even though they're not positive, we have to look at that and say that could turn into positive, a number of positive cases at any time.
Well, and in reality, when you're talking about deep cleaning a school and moving furniture and everything else, that also takes down the number of bus drivers to get them there. That takes your staff down.
Right. And then on Wednesday, we'll start with our hybrid schedule. So it'll be the students who go to school Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. So the Monday, Wednesday students will go on Wednesday. The Tuesday, Thursday students will go on Thursday. Friday will be our typical hybrid schedule virtual day. Where all of the hybrid students will be doing their virtual instruction. Students who are currently doing the NTI and not coming to school, they'll continue as they are. So there won't be any change there. We'll continue to allow that. That's something that's important to us.
Now, parents that say, okay, well, are these hot spots going to be back where, the way they were? I don't think they really ever changed. They're still there.
Yeah, and any question that starts out asking me what will something be like in the future is very difficult.
Oh, well, yeah.
So,
when are we going to get snow? We want to know.
I kind of wish snow was our problem, but no, we don't know. We don't know what the COVID cases are going to look like. We don't know what the quarantine cases are going to look like, but we do know that we'll watch it constantly. We'll continue to talk with everybody we can, listen to everybody that we can, and try to make our decisions accordingly.
Well, now the hotspots for the internet usage, that's going to be there for the parents.
It is. What we're going to do there is, so hotspots, I guess, as a... Unfortunately, today that's got a different term.
I didn't mean that one, but that was good, too.
Yeah, hotspots for the internet. We are currently working on... We've got the capability to enable some of our school buses with mobile Wi-Fi. And so over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be rolling it out, I guess is an appropriate way to say it, especially with it being on school buses. So we're going to find ways that we can get those hot spots out into the county to help provide kids who don't live close to a public Wi-Fi. Maybe they don't have good internet access at home, to just give another option to make it a little bit easier.
We'll see you in Farmersville.
Hey, that's right.
now you're in my hood.
That's
if we're
right.
talking about that.
Have Wi-Fi, we'll travel.
Hey, I think that's neat though, because you're going out of your way to figure out, how to get that to them.
Well, everybody's going out of their way right now, and parents are having to adjust their households. They're coming home from work. They're having to sit down with the kids to make sure that they've done what they need to do, maybe for the older kids. And for the little kids, they're having to sit down and help them do what they need to do. So everybody's doing what they can, and anything like this that we can do, we're gonna try to do everything.
Well, and I'll tell you, my son and I, and this math thing we've got going on at the house. I need a tutor for so that I can tutor him. But that's something everybody's going through. It's not. I want parents to understand. It's not just you. Everybody is going through it.
Right, and I just ask that everybody's patient with each other. Everybody treat each other the way that we've always treated everybody in this community, and we'll be okay. It's going to be really hard. Just as it was really hard before on some parents with their situations, It's been really hard on our school staffs, too, because when we've gotten hit with quarantines and we just barely have enough adults in the building, it gets to the point to where when we talk about our kids being in school, is it really school? Or is it just a school building where we're trying to supervise the kids?
Right.
And we don't want to get to that point. So when our kids come to school, we want it to be school.
You said something last night about a collaboration, and I love this. I told him, I said, man, this is the best. I want to put this on like repeat over and over and over. I love that. Can you pick that one up again?
I'll try. What we were talking about was just the role of the school district and how we interact with this community in this pandemic. And I think what I was trying to convey is that the way that I see our school district is just a part of this community. It's not an independent entity that, we have our community, we have our city government, we have our county government, we have our church organizations, we have our civic organizations. We make this community up together, and we're just a part of it. And so there's times where, the city government's dealing with particular things that impact everybody, or the county government. But right now it's our time. It's our time to bear that burden for the community. And so we'll do our part, and we'll try to do everything we can to provide the best situation for everybody.
I love it. Well, and then I know I can't get it. If somebody will kick me if I don't say after school activities. Is that going back to the way it was with the old hybrid?
At this time, we have not canceled our after school activities en masse. But that is something, we're just going to have to watch that like every district does. Our after-school activities, they've done a really good job. Social distancing, wearing masks, sanitizing locker rooms. But, again, I can't say for sure what things are going to look like in the future.
Just going to have to wait and see. But for now, it's business as usual.
For now, it's business as usual during a pandemic.
I'll tell you, we've enjoyed you being here, and that's, you know what, I say, you've got a time that, boy, it's interesting to pick up and be a superintendent all at once.
It's interesting, but we're all just doing what we can to help everybody out, and be that with education, or be that with church activities in the community, or just even what local businesses are trying to do. I hope everybody can take a deep breath and know that everybody is there for everybody. We're relying on everybody, but we're also all there to help each other. So hopefully we'll not only just get through this, but we'll be stronger on the other side.
All right. So to wrap it all up this morning, because I know we got to go into news here in a few seconds, I appreciate the heck out of you for coming in this morning. And he never batted an eye about coming in this. I was shocked. But I'll tell you, let's make a quick rundown. Right. Starting Monday. We're going to school today.
That's right. Today is our last day of 5-day a week. Monday is virtual instruction. Students will not be in school. Please use that time to get ready for your digital instruction. Tuesday's election day. There's no school activities. And then starting Wednesday, we'll be back on our hybrid schedule of Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, which means that on Fridays, that's digital or virtual instruction for all of the kids.
You know what we look forward to when that happens? We look forward to calls from Will Brown. I'm just saying. That's
actually going to start this afternoon.
You heard it here first. Will Brown's one call is coming at you by this afternoon. I think, you know what? Let's have some fun with it if we've got to. And he's one of those that always seems to be able to do that. That's right. The only thing worse than not having enough smiles is with all the masks on, we don't see the few smiles that are out there. That's true. Thank you so much, Superintendent Heath Cartwright for Caldwell County School System. He come in early this morning, but we sure appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Thanks so much. Stick around. We've got your full weather forecast, and we've got all of the subjects and the topics that are important to you. We've got our news coming up next.
One of the greatest rights as citizens of the United States is the right to vote. And Farless Realty encourages you to get out and vote on November 3rd. If you do not feel safe going to the polls on Election Day, contact your county clerk's office for early voting options. Your vote counts, so let your voice be heard.
Fortner Gas is a full-service propane company offering services in western Kentucky. You'll find